Hey guys, welcome back. So, we are continuing this book, The Free Voice, and today is the last day. So, while reading this chapter, The Fundamental Right to Privacy, I found this question again very interesting. So, the question is, what is the intention behind this government stand that civil and political rights are fine for the well to do but are not pressing needs for the poor? So, here he is talking about the fundamental right to privacy, which was actually a very historic verdict passed by the Supreme Court of India in August 2017 that privacy is indeed a fundamental right under the Constitution of India. So actually government was opposing it, and let's listen in to the argument that the government was giving. So the Attorney General K.K. Venugopal had said that the issue of privacy concerns only the well-to-do sections of Indian society. It is completely removed from the needs and aspirations of the majority of the population. So basically he was saying that the poor and the underprivileged section of the society, for them it is not really a primary need. Okay, so the right to life is paramount for them, but not the right to privacy. But then comes the counter argument, or the observation we can say that of the Supreme Court of India, and it says that this particular stand is actually a betrayal of the spirit of the Constitution, because our Constitution puts the individual ahead of everything else, and to hold that the poor are in need of economic progress alone and not civil and political rights is both wrong and dangerous. So the government was in a way saying that the right to privacy is only meant for the well-to-do, the elite and the rich people, but it's not really a need for the poor and the underprivileged section of the society. But the Supreme Court of India again preserved that right according to the Constitution. So then it goes on to say that it provides subsidies because it is answerable to the people and is responsible for their welfare. Regardless of whether the people are starving or have full stomachs, they can form an adverse opinion of the government, mobilize against it, or come out on the streets to protest against it. So this is a basic right to every Indian citizen. So it's like it must be realized that it is the right to question, the right to scrutinize, and the right to dissent which enables an informed citizenry to scrutinize the actions of the government. Those who are governed are entitled to question those who govern about the discharge of their constitutional duties. So then he goes on to talk about the democratic values and the other rights, like the rights of the LGBTQ community, and how they have also fought like for their rights, the homosexual people. And the last paragraph is pretty interesting actually. So it says that too often our institutions have betrayed us, and now in the 21st century democracy is being continuously undermined in ways that are becoming normal. So it's like we have started to feel that our agency is being robbed from us, which is guaranteed by our Constitution. So once again it is in our remarkable Constitution that we will find the tool to reclaim our liberty and dignity. So the right to privacy thus, it's again granted by our Constitution. So the Supreme Court of India has again reassured the citizens that the system of checks and balances put in place by the makers of our Constitution can still be robust. There is hope. And moving on to the next chapter, which is today, freedom from fear is freedom from the mainstream media. So here he again goes on to talk about the various fake news and propaganda that goes on all the time in national television today, and how propaganda is now the news and the abuse is the other name, the synonym of debate. Then he says that we have made the cardinal mistake of presuming that the expansion of communication media implies the expansion of information, whereas this has in fact led us to a state of informationlessness, right? So he says that the national curriculum project, which we had earlier discussed, that most news channels have been running since 2014, has been crystal clear about its intent from day one: to snuff out the engaged and aware viewers within you. And the idea is to like endure ensure a continual process of Hindu-Muslim divide, to just keep that pot boiling all the time. So there is no scope, no room for questioning, for any sort of interrogation from the public, or they are not even Muslim. They are always been captured in this particular debate of Hindu Muslim all the time. So enemies are being manufactured from within the ranks of citizens. Like Hindu would believe that Muslim is my enemy. So that sort of thing has been going on all around us since 2014, and the big media outlets are in fact playing a huge role in that, he says, in bringing this social divide and everything. And then the last but one chapter is reading 1984 in 2019, where he again talks about the novel 1984, the famous novel by George Orwell. But the last chapter is actually pretty amusing to read, and the title goes like, let's treat ourselves to an ice cream this Independence Day, because Independence Day is around the corner. So he says that the question of what we achieved or did not, and the journey of achievement itself, is infinite. So it is not that we have achieved the independence. He says that the journey to get that independence is what is indeed remarkable and incredible. It was we, the people of this country, who have made worth taking pride, and we will keep doing it. And instead of big actions, let's start with the small ones. So he says that there is a need to look back, to pause for a while, and to question ourselves. And here are a few questions. Do we recognize the signs of democracy being robbed of the democratic spirit? Do we demand that financial growth should be about economic security for every citizen and not about a stock market boom? Because financial inequality is still very prevalent in this country, even after 75 years of independence, right? So he says that all these questions need to be asked, because many a times we also conflate spiritualism with financial achievement, when the truth is that the two have different trajectories. So he has brought many elements here, and the war for independence, Indian independence, is a wonderful document in the world history. How many communities, how many varieties of people from such diverse backgrounds had come together, irrespective of their differences, to fight for this single dream of a free country for themselves. So this country is built on the principle of tolerance and love, as he says, instead of religious hatred or any other sort of thing. So he says that everyone should find a life of equality and dignity in free India. However, communal riots have been there in the history, recent history, and also the past history of India, and it still happens, right? It has been there. But then he tells us a very interesting thing actually. It is only he who seeks to spread hatred who can take a criminal act and make it part of a war for religious pride. So it's like we are bringing religion in everything, and we are now like there goes on this thing, like Akhand Hindu Rashtra and everything. But the secularism that is embedded in our constitution is something to be preserved, as he says. So then he tells us a bit more about the poison that is being spread in our society and what can we do to kind of counter it. But the last one is quite interesting. Can hatred be justified by any argument ever? Should there be any justification for that? No one can be religious without compassion, because religion ultimately teaches you to be tolerant. If you don't hate another religion or community, you can celebrate 15th of August. If you have raised your voice against hatred or faced a conflict or war within yourself, you can celebrate 15th of August. If you understand that Bhagat Singh was martyred for you, Khudiram Bose stepped on to the gallows for your sake, and Mahatma Gandhi took bullets in his chest for you, you should indeed celebrate the 15th of August. And then he says there is still much to do in this country, many areas which we must work on. But if we have our eyes on that, let's take a break for one day and celebrate Independence Day. And we may eat an ice cream, a gulab jamun or 2 jalebis, and we can also distribute some sweets among those who are less fortunate than us. But this remarkable, this incredible event, this momentous event of independence is something to be cherished. And he says that the numerous generations who have come before us have tried really hard to build the country that it is today, and like, I don't know, immeasurable amount of effort has gone to build a nation like India. So it is the collective duty of the citizens of India to preserve that. So that's the end of this book, The Free Voice by Ravish Kumar. I'd like you to share your opinion and comments with me. We will start with the next book tomorrow, Azadi by Arundhati Roy. Till then, stay tuned. Thanks for watching.